Hello everyone. Today we're going to talk about NAT. It's a very important topic in firewalls, and we've already talked about NAT in the CNAT course. Now we're just going to focus on the concepts related to how NAT works in Fortigate firewall. Okay, basically, the main thing that we need to know is that we have two types in NAT: source NAT and destination NAT. Okay, the difference is that source NAT means that it translates the source IP address of outgoing packet internal. So basically, what you need to remember, the difference between DNAT and SNAT is that the source NAT, when the packet is originated from the internal network to the WAN, then it's called SNAT. Okay, when it's vice versa, like from external, from outside of the network, from external network to inside, it's called DNAT. Right? This is the difference. Translates the destination IP address of incoming packets used for happened before routing in Fortigate. Okay, that's the difference. And the main difference is that SNAT handles outbound traffic, source modification. DNAT handles inbound, destination modification. Okay, so that's D stands for destination, S stands for source. Both support, but okay. So, and central NAT, okay, enables granular control over source. So the main thing, there are two ways of defining the NAT in the Fortigate firewall. You can either configure it on the policy, like we remember when we created the policy, there was an option there in the previous video that we can define NAT per policy, right? Or we can do it in central NAT. You cannot configure it both ways. You can either have central SNAT configured, it will apply to all the policies or multiple policies, or you can configure it per policy, one by one. For each policy you can define it separately. Okay, but you cannot have it both. It will not work. If you configure the NAT on a single policy and you want to use enable central NAT, it will not be enabled. It will not work. It will give you an error. Okay, so the main thing is that this is the command set: central NAT enabled, config system setting, then config firewall central. But this is the command to enable. You can enable it from the settings. We'll see how to enable it. And we have something called virtual IPs as well. The thing with the virtual IPs is central NAT configures destination NAT separately from policies, creates VIP object for mapping. So basically, central DNAT, as we said, it's a way it focuses on the outbound packet that comes from the WAN to the internal network, right? So how it does that? We have to using the virtual IPs. Virtual IP is like mapping the public IP address with the internal IP address. You will map it, or you will create a new virtual IP, map the external with the internal IP address, and so that's how DNAT works. Okay. So that's how DNAT works. Destination. We have to use DNAT uses VIP, but separates them from policies and easier management. So this is the difference between policy-based NAT and central NAT. Policy-based NAT, as I said, NAT configured directly in the firewall policies, default mode, simpler, small setup, mixed security and NAT rule. This is okay for small setup, but it's recommended for big setup to use central NAT because separates NAT to a dedicated SNAT map, and DNAT table enables advanced features, port translation required in policy-based next generation firewall mode. It's well documented, integrated internet flexibility. So this is the main key points that we need to focus on when we talk about NAT. Okay, and then we will go through DHCP, how we will configure the DHCP server on Fortigate. You can configure DHCP per port, and you can configure DHCP relay also. If you remember in the CNAT course, we talked about what's the DHCP relay. It's a way to tell your router where define the IP of the DHCP server in your router, so that you can know where it is. It will send the unicast address. We have outgoing interface and dynamic pole. So dynamic IP, two ways that NAT can be configured, whether it's in policy based or central NAT. There is two ways you can configure the NAT, either by interface address. That means it will choose the outside interface IP, a single IP, simple SNAT using interface IP, ideal for basic path, one public IP for many internal pools. So if we have a single only one IP, one public IP, then we can use this one, outgoing interface address. But if we have multiple public IP, you can use this dynamic IP pools. You can use a range of IP from here. Okay, virtual IP, as I said, it maps external IP with internal. DNS, Fortigate has a DNS server actually, and but it has its own DNS server. We have to keep in mind that one. So let's go ahead and try it out. I'm going to configure it again. Okay, we're going to start with the Fortigate firewall here. We're going to put the VPS here, and okay, and we're going to put the cloud here. Keep it like it is was yesterday. We can also put it J so that it will get the internet IP address. So the IP, I'm going to assign an IP here. I'm going to give it the 192.168 10.2 network 255.255.255.0. Now let's put the gateway as well, 192.168.10.1. Okay. Yeah, now let's go ahead and configure the Fortigate firewall. Just give it time. Okay, so let's try this one, and okay, the new password. Okay, we're done now. Let's do config system interface. Okay, we're going to go edit port 2 and get yeah, actually the mode is already static, so but it's not yeah, let's define the IP here. Set IP 192.168.10.1 255.255.255.0. Okay, the IP is set. Let's verify. Done. So yeah, and let's see if it is allowed. The ping is also allowed, because it is not going to allow it. Set allow access. Where's the IP? Yeah, nothing is allowed actually on this port, so let's just set allow access ping. Yeah, so and now config system interface, edit port 1, and let's see if we get an IP. Yeah, we got an IP from the internet, which is great, and HTTPS SSH is all allowed, so there is nothing much to do here, so we just have to end it here, so it's all okay here. So let's go ahead and do let's try to visit the IP 192.168.1.139. Work either HTTP or HTTPS, because we've enabled both. HTTP. Let's just try to execute ping. Make sure we can access the internet for a moment. Yeah, so ping is working. We can access the internet. So it's all okay here. Let's just try here 92.168 168.1.139. Took too long to respond. Let's just see if we can ping it from our PC. Ping 92.168.1.139. No, it's supposed to be 139. Yeah, we can't actually ping it from our PC for some reason. Yeah, we're not able to ping it from our PC. Let's just try to do it through the VM. Yeah, let's delete this one for a moment and put it through the VM. So it will get a different PC, but at least we can. I'll give it time so it will start. Config system interface, edit port 1 and get. Yeah, we got the thing, but let's see if we can execute ping 8.8. Ping. We have to do it on the end. Execute ping 8.8. Let's see if it's not pinging. That means we have to choose the other port. Yeah, so it must be the port here. We're using port this one, so we can change it to the second port. Delete. Let's try this one, this port. This one. Yeah, so it's pinging now. It should work. Let's see what's the IP on the config system interface. Edit port 1, and we'll see get the IP is 129.137. So let's try it out. 129 and 137. Yeah, this is the admin. And yeah, let's just, so we logged in now. Okay, so let's try it out. Let's try let me show you what's the policy NAT. Okay, let's start with the policy NAT. Let's say I created a policy now. Okay, I call it web access. Okay, the inbound interface is this one, the incoming interface, and this has to be 2 actually. The incoming, yeah, the incoming has to be 2. The outbound will be this one. Source will be, you can choose any IP for now. Destination is going to be anything. Let's make it web access. Accept. So this is what I was saying. This is the policy NAT. Okay. Here we have enabled already. It will be enabled by default. You can close it. Okay, you can enable it. Okay. By default, it's set to use outgoing interface traffic. That means it's going to take all any packet coming from any internal IP. It's going to convert it to a single IP address, a single public IP address. Okay. And this is the use dynamic pool, IP pool. Let's say you have more than one public IP and you want to use it. You can add here, you can create more here. Like for example, we have different types. We can put the range here 1 to 1, like or you can use fixed port range. You can put the IP here, the range of the IPs that you need. Mostly we are going to be using in real world, like this one, outgoing interface address. Okay, so now I've set access. allowed access here. So basically this is how what's NAT. This is how NAT is NAT. If you notice also, anytime we need to create a policy, NAT NAT is configured inside it, enabled inside the policy. So that's what policy based NAT means. Okay, but assume that you don't want to configure NAT on per policy. You want it to be done on all the policies. You want to configure it one time and apply it to all the policies or multiple policies. So we can use central NAT. You can go to System, Settings, you can enable it from here. There is an option here, Central SNAT, this one. Okay, you can just click this one and apply. Okay, it's actually not saved yet because already we have one policy. We have enabled NAT on this policy, right? So it's going to conflict. This one is not going to work. It's showing here that it's enabled, but when you refresh it, it's actually enabled for some reason, even after refresh. Now the idea is that you can only have one, either central NAT or policy based NAT. Okay, once you enable this, you're going to notice two things here. A new submenu will appear called Central SNAT, and also this one, DNAT and Virtual IPs. This one was not here before enabling this one. Okay, so the idea of Central NAT is like, we start with you create new here. You check the incoming interface, which was going to be port 2, okay, and the outgoing interface, which is going to be port 1, right, the main line. Then the source address. Okay, you can choose the source address from the addresses here. Okay, we can put it any for now, and put any destination as well. Okay, and NAT is enabled, and here is any enable policy. You can change the protocol from here or specify specific manually. Yeah, and then okay. So we have created a central NAT here, right? Now let's go to the policy. As you can see now, use outgoing interface. When we see, you see what it's telling me? It's telling me central NAT is enabled, so NAT setting from matching central NAT policy will be applied. Okay, so it will apply the NAT from the central policy, and I don't have to apply NAT here. Okay, so that's the idea of central NAT. This is the central SNAT, right? I created one rule, okay, from to, and added the source and destination address, and that's how we get central NAT. But what if we want to configure DNAT, virtual IPs? So we can configure it this way, DNAT and virtual IP, and add DNAT here, and the interface we can make it any if you want, and type static NAT or fully qualified domain. You can choose external IP or yeah. So let's see the external IP. Let's say my external IP is actually this one, right? 192.168 129.131 129.1, right? It's my external IP, public IP. No, it's not public. It's the public IP is going to be. We can assume that this is the IP, okay? And the internal network, let's say that it's 192.168.10.2, right? So this is how it is done actually. Mapping the external to the. Click OK. Give it some name here, DNAT or something. And click OK. Because here the comment, it's not actually the comment. Object check error scarcity invalid IP address. So it must be with the range external IP. I think we're supposed to map it. Let's have a look to the way on configuring this one. Let's go to virtual IP, virtual yeah, they combined it here. Actually, system. Yeah, so we create here new. We can create IP group here if we want, but we don't want that right now. We just want to create the DNAT and virtual IP, right? So let's configure it. DNAT. Change this one. Admin. Okay, there is some issue here. I'm not able to access.